and it's very good we have this breathing time between the previous lecture and now, because I had the time to make the introduction speech in my mind. So I am Lorelai Nassar. I am a dental surgeon, but guess what? I studied also psychology, and I'm practicing medical hypnosis. And from this to there, I am into transpersonal psychology, and I am very, very grateful to Jure and Kadri for making this beautiful event. I'm very grateful to Camelia here for raising the flag in Romania, and to Professor Anca Munteanu, which brought the transpersonal psychology in Romania. And I am very, very grateful to the previous lecturers, because they raised my ball, and I'm hitting it on now. Because I'm going to talk about neuroplasticity and quantum physics, and being transpersonal together with this, and how to understand this. Because as you can imagine, and maybe most of us, yes, and maybe most of us has done, I've got into this path while doing it intellectually, something like 20 years before, and because I'm a doer, and I wouldn't stand like this to wait for the inner peace, I think that we have to build it. So I went to learn to read about it, and after that I went to experience it. So that is how this year caught me in Peru, doing a retreat with ayahuasca for some days, and other years caught me in Brazil, learning about myself and healing and other things, and other years caught me while doing all kind of meditation, means Buddhist retreats and transcendental meditation, and now since 7-8 years I'm practicing meditation using this Hemisync technology developed by Monroe Institute. And the point of my lecture is that, first of all, we have to love ourselves, because it is like a duty I'm feeling. Because from this inner love comes the strength and the ability and the capability to give to the others. So as we are doing it, I have this strong anchor in the psychology line developed by Ayn Rand. I deeply, totally subscribe to her words, which are like this. It's a rare gift, to feel reverence for your own life, and to want the best, the greatest, the highest possible here, now, for your very own. Because wanting the best for my very own, I managed to be happy and healthy. I managed to raise 2 kids. I'm managing to do my daily healing practice as a dental surgeon, but I'm managing also to raise the flag in all concerning spirituality, and to talk about this while building this seminars, and which are listed on the website Mindfulness Activism. And with this, I have my deepest gratitude to Serge here, which was inspiration for me, because while learning him talking about spiritual activist and being a spiritual activist, it was an inspiration for me, and he's done a beautiful job with me last year during the pandemic closure, lockdown, while I was in therapy. Thank you. Good. So getting to this inner strength and building yourself as a anchored person, you manage, and getting from this, you are managing and to see your life as an experience. And while you're seeing your life as an experience, which I'm doing right now, things like this, accident like this, which happened to me in February 2017, went only as a moment to deepen the connection with myself, because while you are restricted, as I was, you can see, to move around, I had the opportunity to go inside, and there were those 9 months where I went inside and where I meditate and where I built myself stronger and stronger and better. And it was not only, it is not only for my sake, but also for the sake of all the others, because like Alessandro told, the more we are raising our vibration, the more we can give to the other, and the more we are contributing to the outer ecology, to the outer ecosystem in our own way. And this is how, what I told you before, in other words, when life gives you lemon, make a lemonade and enjoy it. So while reading Buddhist texts that are pointing a lot on the suffering as an anchor, as a mean to give more and more and more, I'm coming back to Ayn Rand, because this strength, it's the way to say the question isn't who is going to let me, is who is going to stop me. And as I told you before, while being a practitioner of medical hypnosis, it happened to me many times, not only to see the effect on our mind, on people's mind, on their behavior, on their body, but also it raised the question on the effect of our mind on the whole reality. And yes, mind over destiny, life, fate, but where is our mind? Our mind is not the brain. And our mind, you know or you don't know, I didn't knew till some years before, but while in our brain we have around 100 billion neurons, in our heart there are around 40,000 neurons. And guess what? In the gut we have around 0.1 billion neurons. So this Jewish expression, tfushat beten, and which we can find it in other languages, like feeling of a gut feeling, is entirely entitled, because there are neurons all over our body. So we cannot confine our mind to our brain, because it's not. And then, well, I just entered the interpretations of founders of psychology, because I wanted to get into the psychology atmosphere while listing them, and mention for instance, Stanislav Grof, Holotropic Mind, and Ken Wilber, and also Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which Bernadette talked so beautifully the days before. So my theory is that our brain is as any other organ in the body. We can develop abilities while we are exercising them. And so, not just go Freud yourself, but go train yourself. And you can train your mind to do anything you want, because as a practitioner of the Monroe Institute meditation, I am exercising all the time all kind of things, like astral projections, like I don't know, I'll talk with you after that about the specific seminars. So talking about layers of our mind, pay attention. The cortex, which is listed as the new brain, is processing stimulus with an intensity, with a piece of 40 stimulus per second, while the ancient brain the subconscious mind is processing stimulus like 20 million stimulus on a second, which is very, very powerful. And yes, we can think in those terms like conscious mind, new brain, subconscious, ancient brain. And of course, this is the parallel between the activity of left brain hemisphere and right brain hemisphere. What is the left one doing? Like, math, language, this and that. And what is the right one doing? Intuition, music, art. And you have to know that those hemispheres are working with different speeds and in different pieces, and there are a lot of processes which are interconnecting them. Processes which are starting in the left hemisphere and they are continuing in the right hemisphere, and a lot of things which are getting many neural areas involved. So. Talking about also what is located where, the frontal lobe. Here is the emotional control center and home to personality and decision-making abilities. And in the frontal lobe are involved motor function, problem-solving, memory, even though memory is not specific there, but it's involved in many other neural areas. Social and sexual behavior, and there are a lot of institutes in the world which are studying brain functions and based on brain waves, and I'll get a touch on this. I don't know if I hope I'm not boring you while talking about brain wave. Our beta brain wave are activated right now where you're listening to me and I'm talking with you, and I'm trying my best to be coherent and not very emotive, which is not my status, being very emotive. And our brain is functioning on alpha brain waves while we are in a meditative state, and while we are in a deep meditation, our brain is doing delta waves and theta waves. There are the waves which are involved when we are in a deep sleeping or in a spiritual state, while gamma brain waves are pretty less are not very well studied, and they are related to heightened perceptions. And it is this very interesting brain project, Blue Brain, developed in Sweden. They are working for years on establishing, on mapping the brain, actually, and on getting it related to some artificial intelligence form. And I don't know if you read on it, but it's very interesting that the kids, after being born, they have till 6 years old, their brains are acting using mostly theta waves, while from 5 years to 8 years, their brain is working using mostly alpha brain waves, which makes them very susceptible and very open to suggestion, because our medical hypnosis patients, we are getting them through into hypnosis while getting them to get those alpha brain waves. So this is how the kid is very, very open to suggestion, is very, very open to whatever the others are telling them. And what is very, very interesting is that through learning processes, we can develop new neural connections, and believe it or not, but also while looking at the learning process, we can develop new connection, because it was this study done with 2 groups of kids. One of the group was studying piano, and the other group was looking at them. And after the study finished, the researchers took some brain mapping on the kids, and they noticed that the first group developed some areas of neural connections, while the second group developed pretty much the same neural connections. And it's very, very interesting. So, while we are learning new skills, whatever those new skills might be, it might be a new language or a new sport or new, I don't know, transpersonal psychology, our brain is getting to develop new synapses. And while we are deepening this learning, our brain is establishing and is getting those synapses straightened. And if we are not practicing this, the synapses are getting loose, and we are forgetting about this. So, in respect with this, it is a very important thing. While our brain can build the belief of something, and the body is following this belief. And with this, it is the placebo and the nocebo effect. And because about placebo, we all heard more or less, which is responsible for more than 70% of the healing process. The nocebo also is responsible for a lot of damage caused by real or fake illnesses like this COVID hysteria, mass hysteria, I must say. And trust me, I'm saying it as a doctor. Talking about placebo, you have to know that placebo effect, it's not only while a person is taking pills. Placebo effect is also in any medical act it can be. It was a very, very wise study done by mostly and published in 2001 in the Journal of Orthopedic Surgery and listed on PubMed, and mostly he was an orthopedic surgeon, and he made 3 groups of patients. While the first group, which all of them suffered from knee injuries, and the first group has done through surgery, knee surgery with knee replacement, and after that recovery, and after that the whole process. The second group was done only a lavage of the knees, means they opened, they done local anesthesia, they opened the knee and they washed it a little bit with saline, sterile saline. And they closed it after that. And the group has done the same recovery process. And the third group, they acted only if they are doing the surgery. Mean the patient was under anesthesia and they've done a little scratch on the knee, and after that like a closure, and the patients were instructed to do the same recovery process. And what were the results, you think? Same. The same recovery rates. So this made mostly to raise the question, there are indeed all the surgeries which are recommended by the American system of health. They are mandatory or not? What I am saying as a surgeon, as a dental surgeon, is that not all of them are mandatory, because, I don't want to talk about the health system, but the point is, you got it. And nocebo also, there are indeed a lot of articles published on this. Among them, a patient which was diagnosed with a neck tumor, and he was told that it is a cancer, and he died in a couple of months. And the necropsia, they found that the lesion, it wasn't cancer at all. It was benign, and he had no reason at all to die, but he died because he was convinced it would kill him. So, my friends, COVID won't do a thing. Just joking. There were indeed a lot of people which died, so I'm not saying a word on this anymore. So, talking about mindfulness, It's just a wording. It is mindfulness or mind emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard Feynman, which is among my by far my favorite physicians in the world, he was awarded with a Nobel Prize. And Wikipedia described him as a drummer because he had this hobby, African drums and beautiful ladies. He has a lot of splendid books and a lot of talks on YouTube still, even though he died many years before. And in one of his books, he's describing how he was exercising in the meantime 2 abilities of the brain. While he was doing a certain task, he was adding also from 1 to, I don't know, a couple of thousands. So our brain can do different, can be multitasking, and he usually is. Yet, from the brain and our mind to consciousness, this is the question. So consciousness, how would you define, how would I define, how would anybody define? I found this quote of Amit Goswami, which is also among by far my favorites. And he has this website on quantum activism. He's also an activist like us, like me and like Serge. And Amit Goswami is describing consciousness as the agency that collapses the wave of a quantum object, which exists in potential, making it an immanent particle in the world of manifestation. And I am here deep into the quantum physics world, which says, quantum physics says that everything exists like a potentiality, everything. And this potentiality, it's only gets into reality, it's getting real when somebody observes it.
Mm-hmm.
And what can be this somebody, or that somebody? Consciousness. Or you can name it God, or you can name it whoever you want. So, I just told you about this wave-particle duality, potentiality of everything, while everything exists in this wave state. And when somebody observes it, or something, and this something can be a machine. When somebody observes it, it became reality. So consciousness, my friends, has an active role in determines what exists. And this is stated by, it's not new in science. Quantum physics exists for many years. And even Albert Einstein talk about these spooky actions of a distance, interconnectedness, what my previous lecturers talk about. And about quantum existence, talked not only Einstein or Niels Bohr or Thomas Campbell, but many awarded scientists which published a lot of books. It is a lot of literature on this. Russell Targ, John Wheeler, Eugene Wigner. John Wheeler is the guy who named the process of the becoming our universe Big Bang, which was, he wasn't an adept of the Big Bang theory, but he named it, like making a joke of it, and it caught. And it's funny that after that, the adepts of the theory, of the Big Bang theory, wanted to change its name, but they didn't succeed because it was a very good name. It was very catchy. So Erwin Schrödinger says that quantum physics thus reveals a basic ownness of the universe. And this is it. And in this line is also Edgar Mitchell, astronaut, while he was a participant at the Apollo 14 mission. And when he came back from this mission, he had this beautiful insight and religious insight. And after that, he's got the understanding of what God is indeed, what is its role in the universe and in our existence. And because he is MIT, he has a PhD in MIT, he founded the Noetic Institute because it's what smart people are doing. I mean, they are beginning to do research on things they are, the mainstream is questioning. And going back to Amit Goswami, because I simply love him, he talks about quantum entanglement, while consciousness, I think he simply placed God into the scientific world. It's my feeling. And he talks about consciousness as a part or source of the whole. And taking God as a reference, he, as I told you, is pointing at God as a part of quantum mechanism. Of course, we can talk about consciousness as a sentience or awareness of internal or external existence. And is this function, is this consciousness related to brain function? I would say no. And like me, would say many brilliant people, among them Dr. Ibn Alexander here, which is a neurosurgeon. I don't know how many of you have read his books, but he is brilliant indeed. And in the first of his books, this Proof of Heaven, he's talking about he being dead for almost a week, while as a neurosurgeon he knew exactly what he has. He had a meningitis with an unknown microbe. And everybody was testing it and sending samples all over the world and so on and so on. And the relatives were praying near his bed and all his family. And while he was into this astral projection and traveling on, unknown realms and unknown universes and speaking with entities and so on and so on. And he comes and he testifies. Guys, there is a heaven. There are other, there are other places where people can go and they can have experiences and they can get healed and they can understand and they can get a better understanding of the world and on themselves. And in this line is also Thomas Campbell with his My Big Toe, which has a very interesting perception on the universe. And many other authors, and we are indeed living in this paradigm epoch, in this paradigm change epoch, as I feel, because we are talking about brain, mind, consciousness. We are talking about energy, like wave, particle nature. We were talking about energy meridians and chakras, which all the Asian healing system is based on. Till, guess what? A couple of years before, they discovered that there are collagenous bands which marks the chakras and energy meridians. I mean, there is a physical something which can be seen. So I won't be surprised if in any future consciousness will be measured with some smart devices. And there are not only those guys which I pointed on, which are raising, like scientists are raising the flag of the spirituality, but many others. And a guy from Israel, Dr. Alon Retter, by his name, which has not only a PhD in physics, but also 3 postdoctoral schools, has founded this Institute of Science and Consciousness, and this is the website. Its name is Hamatara Emet, which means the target is the truth. And this institute, in this institute are around 250 scientists all over the world, and I'm one of them, and I'm so happy to be there because you can see professors and other doctors which are astral projections, or which can do remote viewing, or which have very strong beliefs in other realms, like we, those of here are. So, Getting from here to the next step, the magic word is neurotechnology, because it is what brought me here. It is what makes the bridge in between. It's what Monroe Institute from Virginia built, and it's known wide in the world like hemisync technology. And I read one of his books. This is Bob Monroe. He was a businessman, and among other businesses, he owned a radio station, and he was very passionate about the sounds. And while he was writing songs and other things, he developed a series of frequencies of sounds which could help to memorize better. And while listening those sounds at home with his kids, he had 4 daughters, in some night he found himself near the ceiling. And it was so weird because he didn't understand. He looked down, and he saw his wife sleeping in his bed with a guy. And after a moment, he noticed that this guy was himself, and he tried desperately to go back into his body, which happened actually. So, as a smart person, he first of all questioned himself, am I healthy? And he went to some doctors to certify this, which they have done. And second, he built this institute of research, which is Monroe Institute in the United States. And as I told you, I read one of his books when I was in high school. And at that moment, I told myself, Guy, once in my life, I'm going to go in the United States. And it was so weird because I grew in communist Romania, and to dream to go from communist Romania to the United States, it was like, oh. But I've done it. I mean, I've done it many, many years after, and this is Monroe Institute, and Bob took near himself many physicists and psychologists and psychiatrists, and they developed this hemisync frequencies, those hemisync frequencies, which are the basis of the meditation, which are constructing the seminars of Monroe Institute. And guys, friends, I can tell you that I had the most beautiful insights, like from this existential point of view while doing those meditation. I had the union with my higher self. I'm talking with my spiritual guides every day, and I'm feeling them, and I am centered, and I'm connected from my heart, from my soul to the divinity. And I've got into this path, your path, from transpersonal psychology path, while having these deep understandings. And what hemisync is doing, it is uniting our left and right brain hemisphere. It is bringing our brain to the coherence which we need in order to function better. And it's not only giving us this state of higher suggestibility, but it's bringing us, depending on the meditation you're doing and on the exercises you're doing, it can bring you the ability to hear yourself, or to remote view, or to get out of the body, or to get in connection with whoever you want, whenever you want, in what moment you want, only 5 minutes. So today's science fiction is tomorrow's science fact. It's what my lectures wants to say, and I hope I've got into this deep enough. And I have this very, very beautiful quote of Neil Gaiman, which is Idris, is a little girl. She's saying, are all people like this? And the doctor says, like what? So much bigger inside. Yes, guys, we are so much bigger inside. And not pinning on the practical benefits of the meditation, you are going to get everything into my book, which is outside on sale, and I'm gonna give you the most beautiful dedication. But conclusion, meditation process increases alpha brain waves predominance, increases beneficial neuronal circuit synapses. And my point is, as a dentist, I couldn't say it better, that as you are brushing your teeth daily, meditate daily, because you're cleaning your mind. And I hope I gave you enough tools to have a second thought. And this is my book, and I had the privilege to have this review, which was indeed enlightened my days for for a very long time, from William Buhlman. And I don't know if you heard about, if you know him, he wrote a couple of books, and he's the #1 researcher in out-of-body experiences in the world. He's teaching a lot. He's giving lectures all over the world, and he's invited in many congresses. And he wrote about my book that this book is unique, which it is indeed.
Thank you.